TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, Erev Tov, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. The remaining 20 living Israeli hostages who've endured 738 days in Hamas captivity have been released back to Israel. President Donald Trump declares Israel's victory over its enemies. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserts Israel is ready to extend its hand for peace. Mixed emotions, to include considerable excitement, blended by sadness and anger, spread across Israel today as the 20 living hostages, along with a number of deceased captives, were released in a number of installments from Hamas captivity in the Gaza Strip, while almost 2,000 terror operatives are being released in exchange. The first installment of hostages were delivered to the Red Cross at 3 minutes to 8 in Gaza City, away from the cameras, to include 7 living hostages who were then delivered to the IDF that transported the captives to Reim camp in Israel, which was erected to absorb the hostages for the purpose of undergoing initial medical evaluation and reuniting them with their families.
I'm on my way to Reim to meet my son Imrod after more than 2 years. I'm so excited. I'm full of happiness, and it's hard to imagine how I feel this moment. I didn't sleep all night, and I'm on my way to Reim. Thank you for everyone, all the people here in Israel and around the world that fight with us for this moment.
A couple of minutes before noon, a second installment of 13 Israeli hostages was transferred to the Red Cross, which immediately handed them over to the IDF and Israel's security agency Shin Bet from the central camps of Gaza before arriving to the absorption center in Reim. In tandem, U.S. President Donald Trump arrived in Israel's Ben Gurion International Airport, where he received the highest honors welcome, after which he traveled to Israel's parliament, or Knesset in Jerusalem, to deliver a speech. Ahead of his speech, Israeli Parliament Speaker Amir Ohana, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and opposition leader Yair Lapid addressed the Knesset's plenum, during the course of which they all voiced Israel's deepest gratitude to the President, Donald Trump, and the American people for their steadfast support. Moreover, Prime Minister Netanyahu also seized the opportunity to highlight that altered perception amongst Israel's enemies that have realized a horrible mistake that they've made in attacking the State of Israel.
With our military pressure and President Trump's global leadership, we achieved this historic moment. It's a moment of indescribable joy as our nation embraces our sons who are coming home.
The Israeli premier continued by highlighting that in today's Torah portion that is read across synagogues during the Feast of Tabernacles, or Sukkot, referring to the book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon asserts that there is a season for everything under the heavens.
That we're going to read this week, the book of Ecclesiastes. It's not a book of action. It's a book of meditations, of thought, a perspective on life and on death. And in this book, we read the immortal words of King Solomon. To everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Et milchama ve'et shalom. A time for peace and a time for war. The last 2 years have been a time of war. The coming years will hopefully be a time for peace. Peace inside Israel and peace outside Israel.
Ahead of President Trump's trip to Egypt, which includes a so-called peace summit with world leaders, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continued by asserting that Israel extends its hand in peace.
I look forward to continuing marching with you on the path we paved together with the Abraham Accords. Under your leadership, we can forge new peace treaties with Arab countries in the region and Muslim countries beyond the region. Abraham's children will work together to build a better future, a future that will unite civilization against barbarism, light against darkness, and hope against despair. And my friends, I believe that with President Trump's leadership, this will happen a lot faster than people think. As Prime Minister of Israel, I extend my hand to hold those who seek peace with us. No one wants peace more than the people of Israel. Israel will always remain vigilant in defending itself, and Israel will always remain full of hope. Hope is our national anthem. Hope is our creed. Hope is our strength. It is time, my friends, to realize that hope and expand the circle of peace.
President Donald Trump, for his part, did not shy away from displaying his genuine joy that the living hostages have now been returned to Israel. Nevertheless, he did also underscore the importance of never forgetting the atrocities which Hamas had committed, which triggered the 2-year war.
So as we celebrate today, let us remember how this nightmare of depravity and death all began. 2 years ago, on the eve of the Simchat Torah holiday, thousands of innocent Israeli civilians were attacked by terrorists, and one of the most evil and heinous desecrations of innocent life the world has ever seen, the worst slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. The cruelty of October 7th struck to the core of humanity itself. Nobody could believe what they were witnessing. The United States of America grieved alongside you, and we mourned for our own citizens who were so viciously taken that day. And to all the families whose lives were forever changed by the atrocities of that day, and all of the people of Israel, please know that America joins you in those two everlasting vows: never forget and never again.
The American leader went on to declare Israel's victory over its enemies.
So Israel, with our help, has won all that they can by force of arms. You've won. I mean, you've won. Now it's time to translate these victories against terrorists on the battlefield into the ultimate prize of peace and prosperity for the entire Middle East. It's about time you were able to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Before concluding his speech to Israel's representatives, government, and top security brass, President Trump highlighted his intention to call upon all leaders present at the peace summit in Egypt's Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh to join the Abraham Accords.
And you'd all be doing me a favor, and I'm going to be saying this in a little while to some other friends, would love you all to, is this right, Jared? Join up in the Abraham Accords. We have to join up and get together. You can have that whole thing filled out.
A long list of world leaders arrived in Egypt, one after the other, upon the invitation of President Trump and his host counterpart, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, to attend a summit that in essence aims to display consensus over Washington's expectations for the Gaza Strip.
It's about ensuring that there is a framework that allows for the restoration of security. And so we will work with the United States of America, with the countries of the region, the European countries, and therefore the Arab countries, to ensure that there is this framework that allows for an international stabilization force, and that provides a structure in support of the administration that will be established for Gaza, to first accelerate the training of security forces and also to deploy international forces and provide a framework for the demobilization and demilitarization of Hamas.
À la démobilisation et démilitarisation du Hamas.
Von dem Platz hier geht das Signal aus, wenn die
The signal is coming from here. When the international community stands together, it is possible. But it must not only be possible here, it must also be possible in other regions of the world. For us Europeans, this war in Europe is the greatest threat to our freedom, and that is why, on the sidelines of this great meeting today, we will also discuss what contribution we can make together to end that war. I will make no secret of the fact that we are also counting on the support and continued backing of the United States of America, as it has demonstrated in this region.
Staaten von Amerika, so wie sie es in dieser Region gezeigt haben.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. If you're blessed by our daily updates, which are exclusively donation-based, please support TV7 Israel with a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I would like also to encourage you as ever to keep praying for all of the hostages who are now having to start their healing process. Pray also for Christians and Druze facing a brutal siege by the Damascus regime in southern Syria and the Christian community facing genocide in Nigeria. Lastly, but certainly not least, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Essen wishing you a Chag Sameach. God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.